take it too serious. If you don't go away, ain't no feeling us. Cause walking through the rain, moving through the pain. We do everything, still stay the same. Staying steady in my lane. So don't take it too serious. So don't take it too serious. Why they acting like this? Hey, how y'all doing? Hello. We had a brief break, but I'm excited to be back with you tonight. Welcome to the Tamika Hall Live Show. I am super psyched that you are joining us on this evening, and we're continuing our series, our new season of Meet the Authors. Can I just say to you that I just found out, I think it's been about 2 hours ago, that this segment, this series, Meet the Authors on Tamika Hall Live, is in the top 5 on Amazon Live. So y'all have made us the top 5 show in the media department. I want to just say a special thank you to my dear friend Cyrus Webb. Thank you so much for always encouraging me and always keeping me hip to the game and letting me know what is going on. For those of you guys that are wanting to understand what it is to be an influencer and all those great things, you're going to want to make sure that you are connected to Cyrus Webb. He's actually getting ready to teach a course on how to do that. And I appreciate him. Because, a lot of times people would keep information to themselves, and Cyrus did not do that. And so I just wanted to make sure that you know exactly who he is. Listen, I just want to share this with you. He did not ask me for this. He doesn't even know that I'm getting ready to do it. But this is Cyrus Webb. And so if you are wanting to become an influencer, Cyrus Webb really is the person that you want to be connected to. He's going to have a training starting this month on the 19th. And he's the one that you want to be connected to. I just absolutely love him. Listen, I'm excited about tonight. I have 3 incredible women that are joining me on this evening. Y'all, we have Miss Laqueshia Britt. We have LaKeisha Hall, y'all. She's got my same last name. I call her cousin sometimes. And we have Prophet Alisa Stilley. How are y'all doing on this evening? I'm going to unmute everybody. Unmute everyone. That's my fault because I muted everybody. Now, and y'all know every single show I end up muting myself and I forget. And then this time I muted y'all, you didn't even know. So anyway, how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing amazing.
We're doing amazing.
Good.
Doing amazing. I love that. And I'm excited about the fact that you're able to push through and press to the end, and we're able to come on here and talk about our new book, God Blocked It. As y'all can see, I have it all marked up for this evening. But we're talking about God Blocked It. Yes. And I know that the other ladies would have theirs too. But y'all, sometimes we got to film on location, okay? And so, LaKeisha, thank you for making sure that you could still catch us on tonight. Y'all, she's filming on location. It's real life. This is show business. And this is the life of an international best-selling author. Okay, first of all, LaKeisha, can we just talk about the fact that you just got back from like this fabulous birthday vacation that you gave yourself? You went to South Africa, right?
Wow.
Yes, I was. But you went to multiple countries in Africa, didn't you? It wasn't just South Africa, was it?
It was South Africa, but I went to 5 different cities in South Africa for 12 days. So I was just traveling up the coast on a cruise, and oh my God, I want to go back. I just want to go back.
Okay, so what was that like? Like, take a second, because I'm excited. I got to kind of live through it, live it with you,
Yes.
because you did post pictures, thankfully. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, what was that like to go to the motherland?
To be so honest, I cried. I honestly, when I got on the ground and went through the airport and it says, "Welcome to the motherland," I cried. It was like, I can't describe it, that my spirit was there before I was there.
Wow.
And so I've dreamt about going to Africa many times for many years, and just to be there in the motherland and to be able to see it, to touch it, to smell it is like nothing else. What we see on the news and what we see on TV is not what it is. Is not what it is. The luxury of it, the greenery of it, the fertile land of it is just, I would just tell everybody if you have a chance to visit, because it's nothing like going there and actually stepping foot and
Mm-hmm.
visiting the places where Nelson Mandela gave his speech at City Hall, and
Oh,
seeing the statues and just seeing the people thriving and just happy, and just us, like really just us, beautiful, talented, spiritual, just all of it rolled in one. I just can't put it in words. The sunset, just
Wow.
it was
oh.
so much that even now thinking about it, I'm like, I gotta go back. I have to go back. It was
And so
just
let me
one of those
ask you,
things.
did you kind of take this as a solo trip or did you go with someone else or
No, all my trips are solo. I'm an only child, and so
I
as an
love
only
that.
child, I'm one of those things that I decided in my life that I want to see the world. So every 2 years, I give myself an international trip somewhere in this world. I
Okay.
I
tell
love
people where
that.
I'm going. I give them an itinerary, but I'm out.
And
That's it.
my sister is actually over in Senegal right now. My sister is a midwife.
Oh wow!
And
Yes.
so she is right now she's stationed over in Senegal and she's a solo traveler as well. And she's the one that gave me the courage to do it. And so I have no problem traveling solo. I haven't done an international trip just
Oh,
yet. But I definitely think it's going to be something I want to do. For sure.
you don't feel alone. I will tell you that most people think that you feel alone and that it's just ooh ah. No, it's common sense. Do your homework. Do research. Know their laws. Know your embassy. Make sure they know where you're at. But it's one of the
Mm.
best things ever. I tell anyone, do not be afraid. And I've been doing this now for the last 9 or 10 years. I've just
I
been
love it.
traveling. Yes.
Amazing.
I love it. I love it. Congratulations to you on that. Prophet
Thank
Alisa,
you.
you just hosted a conference, an out-of-state conference. I'm
Yes,
honored
ma'am.
that I was able to speak on that.
Yes.
The Forever at His Feet. Talk to us
Yes.
about that.
Oh my God. Listen. The vision of it. When God gave me instructions on how to put this thing together, I was fearful of it
Mm.
because that was the first time I ever did anything in another state, out of my comfort zone. This was new territory. So it was a stretching for me. He stretched me like a rubber band, and thank God the rubber band didn't pop because I felt like it was going to snap some days. But it was empowering. I don't know if you ladies got a chance to tune in. It was amazing just to be, a lot of people told me they felt the presence of God come through the camera, but to be
Mm.
in the room, the heaviness and the pressure of what God did in that room, the deliverance, the freedom, people weights was lifted. I'm still getting reports. I'm still getting
Amen.
testimonies about how Dr. Hall just threw herself
Oh,
down and did a military crawl on us in there and showed us how desperate we need to be for God. But it did something for so many people that she came out of her element that
mm.
most women would have never got down in the good skirt and the good shoes, okay, and drug themselves across the floor. But it showed them that we have to come out of ourselves sometimes to get that desperate to get to God. And she showed just, when we're all cute and together, that we get so caught up in that we forget that doesn't matter. Snatch those eyelashes off, take those wigs off and them good shoes and wipe that makeup off and get to God rather than lose everything about yourself. Is it worth it?
Mm.
Was it worth being that cute and letting God
Mm.
walk into the room and walk
Woo.
past you? I don't
Yes.
want God to
Woo!
do that.
Whoa.
Woo.
I was too cute to take off my eyelashes and lay my wig down
Woo,
and take
Lord.
off the good shoes, the good Dorothy shoes, because she had on the good shoes, y'all. I said, Lord, she in the good shoes. But it was so profound because that's what we do. We'll sit there and we don't want nobody to know what we're going through. We don't want
Mm.
nobody to experience that. I don't want you to see the mask that I have on my face for
Mm.
real, because if I pull it off a little bit, you're going to see what's underneath. I don't want you to know that I'm going through or I'm suffering.
Hmm.
She said, in the good shoes and the good shirt. This is how desperate I am. And here I am, no matter what I look like, because all this prettiness is beautiful. But if I'm ugly on the inside, what does it matter? What does it matter? So it blessed me, just I'm still basking in it from this point, because it gave me now new vision, another level to take it for next year, because we're coming back next year again to go deeper into this place. But I'm still like, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that the women got what they needed, and that people came to, and they came in the room ready. That was the other thing. They came ready. They came. I'm tired of this weight. I'm tired of being in this place. I'm tired of looking cute, and I'm walking out ugly on the inside. Pretty on the outside, ugly on the inside. So I'm excited for the next stretching.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Alisa Shaw, y'all, Mrs. Delaware was in the house with us that night as well.
Yes.
And she said amazing. And she said, I made sure I had on waterproof mascara. Hello.
Because you needed it.
Yes, Kim H, thank you so much for following us. I am so appreciative that you followed me over on Amazon Live. Listen, I just want to say to you all again, thank you so much, because of you joining in and you connecting and all of those great things. You all have made the Tamika Hall live show you've put us in the top 5, and it's been because of this series of Meet the Authors and all of that great stuff. And I am so appreciative of that. So listen, I want to talk to Miss Laqueshia Britt. Laqueshia, you just released a book not too long ago. We're going to dive into that a little bit more. But you released a gratitude journal. Talk to us about your journal.
Well, it's like Prophet Alisa, it's something that I wanted to do. November is my birthday. And after just searching the internet, I realized that November was National Gratitude Month. I said, ooh, light bulb went off in my head. I said, I'm going to create a gratitude challenge. And at first, I wanted everything to be perfect. I want this to start November the 1st. At first, I started beating myself up when I didn't have everything together November the 1st. And I'm being 100% transparent, because it's not always going to be perfect on the first try, but you keep going and going and going until you get the result that you need to get. But as I moved along, I said, okay. The journal I created in about 48 hours, God was just downloading stuff in my head. He would not let me rest until I created the journal. It's a downloadable journal on the Facebook page that I have. And I just wanted to express my gratitude, just in general on a daily basis. I want to grow a grateful mindset. And I just wanted to share that with others too, because you have to have a grateful mindset. You have to be thankful for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like if you always think about the bad stuff all the time, right, you're going to get drowned. You're drowning in that. How about shift your focus, right, and shift into a grateful mindset, right? And then once you get your mind off of that and just be grateful, that's how gratitude is going to transform your life. So pretty much in a nutshell, something I wanted to do different for my birthday. I didn't know how I was going to format it. I said, okay, I'm going to call this person. Somebody's going to help me. Everything just came together. I didn't have it all together at first, but it worked out perfectly in the end. And I just created a 21-day challenge. I interacted every day with everyone. I had prayer in the morning, so one prayer in the morning, midday motivation, and then I would recap it off in the evening. And the group just is still growing. It's amazing. It blew my mind.
I love it. I mean, I love this because, I know that with LaQuisha and with Prophet Alisa, you were all part of I Am Stronger Than the Storm. And so then for you to come back and for you to be part of God Blocked It has been great. And so we've all connected, and we've prayed together, we've cried together, we have literally labored all together, and we've been extended over the past couple of months. And with God Blocked It, this started in September of 2022. And as you can imagine, the warfare that we all went through because of us being able to express how God blocked things in our life, it has been just incredible. It's been incredible. And so I'm excited for everyone that is tuned in on tonight. And we're going to take just a little bit of time to get to know the authors that are we're going to get to know them behind their words. I do want to give a shout out to those of you that are hanging out with us. Y'all are already very active in the chat, and thank you so much for that. I appreciate you being here for that. Listen, I want to definitely say to Mrs. Delaware, thank you so much. Y'all, like, I know Alicia's probably like so over me always calling out her title, but listen, when you work hard for something, I'm gonna give your title.
That's
like
right.
everybody
That's right.
know exactly who you are. And so I'm always honored that she chooses to hang out with us. She's always supporting and just love her. So Alisa, thank you so much for hanging out with us over on Amazon Live. And I do see others that are tuned in on Amazon Live. Do me a favor, if you're on Amazon Live, if you haven't followed yet, please follow, because listen, I want you to keep us in the top 5. Y'all, we beat out some very well-known people. Okay, I just gotta say that. But okay, so y'all, it's gonna keep us in the top 5. I had no idea. Like, this was just like the most amazing news to get right before this. And so I do want to give a shout out to, so we just said Alicia Shaw, Mrs. Delaware in the house. We have Miss Mercy hanging out with us tonight. Thank you so much, my dear. Y'all, we got Keisha Robinson, Elder Keisha in the house. So excited to have you, Elder Keisha. Thank you so much for being here. We have Miss June Smith hanging out with us. Miss June, that's not your face, but that's a nice looking face too. So Miss June, we just love having you hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Nay, we are so excited that you are back with us, hanging out with us. One of our other authors that you actually, the last 3 that I've talked about are all authors on God Blocked It, and I just love how everybody is so supportive of each other. We have Miss Ardina Brown. Thank you so much for being here with us. You just bless my life. Miss June, Alicia said Miss June's giving eye candy. Right, Miss June, it was her eye candy in that profile picture. But y'all, that's not Miss June. That's not her. So just like, I know she said Miss June. That's not Miss June. Miss June is very beautiful, and she looks nothing like a man. So I just want to let everybody know that. Y'all, we have Miss LaWanda Johnson hanging out with us. LaWanda, we love you. We love you. We love you. Thank you for being here. LaTanya Murray in the house. How you doing, LaTanya?
Yes.
Y'all, we got Robin Sample hanging out with us. Robin, thank you so much. Robin's going to be with us on tomorrow as well for our interview. So y'all going to want to make sure that you tune in and come back on tomorrow as well. Y'all, we got Shelf Vera hanging out with us from Connecticut. Hey, Shelf, we love you. We love you. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, y'all, y'all, Miss June said, oh, so sorry. No, it's fine. You're allowed to have whoever you want on your profile. But, you know, clearly the eye candy was appreciated. Y'all, we have Maria Njenka hanging out with us on tonight. That's my boo-boo. I love Maria. She's hanging out with us. Thank you so much for being here with us on this evening. So listen, guys, for those that are just tuning in with us, do me a favor, share this out with folks. When you're sharing, when you're clicking the like button, you're clicking the love button, you're making comments, what it does is it pushes us up in the algorithm, and it lets people know that they need to be watching. And it alerts Facebook and YouTube, and even over on Amazon, it alerts them that people need to be watching the show. So I appreciate you all for coming in and just being supportive and all of those great things. So listen, LaKeisha, I want to get started with you. I want to talk to you about your chapter, Birthing with Purpose. Y'all, I appreciate LaKeisha Hall. I appreciate her hanging out with me on tonight because she's all the way over there on the West Coast. And so while it is, you know, after 6 o'clock here, it is still very bright and definitely afternoon over there. And so thank you for, like I said, doing the quick dip out so that you could come and hang out with us on tonight. So your chapter is Birthing with Purpose. I want to read a snippet from your chapter. And so you wrote, 2021 was the year that my mind, body, and soul went through a roller coaster of emotions, from weakness, doubt, fear, depression, and hopelessness. In the month of April, my body went through a tournament of unexpected pain that affected the very core of my being. It felt as though my body was giving out on me. I went from being strong to becoming weaker by the minute, from body functions working fine to my body functions not working properly, to get a colonoscopy and other tests, from eating whole healthy meals to barely eating oatmeal and drinking Ensure and dropping 35 pounds within a month. Your chapter is titled Birthing with Purpose. And within the very first 2 chapters, we are experiencing this roller coaster, as you called it, of health, of this journey of the health issues that you had going up and down. Tell us about how you going through all of this pain and this tournament, as you called it. How does that connect with you birthing purpose?
I'm trying not to cry, because
we cry all the time on here.
When I think back to that moment and someone that works at a hospital and going to work and going to the hospital in and out of ER, and they can't tell me what's going on. And my coworkers are scared to death for me because they see me not being able to eat. They see me cramping over and bending over and just everything going wrong. And then having to trust God in that, having to lean on him, and then finding out I'm in the middle of a COVID. I'm at a hospital. You got COVID going on. You got masks wearing 24 hours, 7 days a week. And then finding out I have to have surgery. Going in the hospital, supposed to be in there for 1 day, turning 2.5 weeks. Going for one surgery, turn around 8 hours later, have to have another surgery. And then being out of work for 3 months. My mind was going through it. My body was going through it. This is where I need to trust God. And trust him at a level of knowing that, God, you have me. And so birthing with purpose, if I can just be honest and transparent, is that as women, we are born with this womb, this womb that's supposed to give life. And we talk about the womb spiritually, we talk about it naturally. So what happens when you've had this womb and now this womb has to be taken away from you? Not by choice, but because your body is shutting down because it can no longer hold it. And so what happened was I had blood trapped in my uterus, and we didn't know it. And it was trapped for over 3 months. And so that one thing caused everything in my being to shift. So now I have a womb taken, I have a hysterectomy taken at 48. And so now my mind is playing tricks with me. I'm laying up in the middle of the night because the devil's telling me if you go to sleep longer than 3 hours, you're not going to wake up. I'm going through, God, where are you? I'm going through, God, should I have kids? Shouldn't I have kids? I was waiting until I got married. I'm not married. I don't have these babies. It was just so much chaos going on. But in the midst of it, if I could be so honest, in the midst of it, I love God because in the dreams, even though depression was there and everything was going crazy, I had to trust him. And he was saying, you're still going to birth. You're still going to bring forth. And I need you to understand, I created you. Although you no longer have the physical womb, I know what I put in you. So, Dr. Hart, I have to credit you because when you came, God, I thank you. Because when you came along, that was God showing me a sign saying, I told you I ain't forget. You've been wanting to connect with her for so many times to get in these different, what should you talk about? These different series of the anthology of what book should you go and what author should you be in the series. And I had other stories, but when this came, God said, now you see why. Everything has a purpose to it. I blocked it. I blocked it for a time such as this to share this testimony. I blocked it to let you know that you are still on the birth. Although you no longer have a natural womb, you still have a spiritual womb. So don't think because that natural womb is not there that I know what I put in you. I put in you what I'm going to allow you to give to my women to let them understand. Although this is a spiritual journey, but also for us to understand when our natural bodies start acting up, to not dismiss it. Because sometimes what we do is as women, it's a pain, it's a cramp, it's this, and we keep pushing. We take medicines and we're constantly going. but we're not taking the time to realize that our bodies are breaking down because internally we may be holding on to stress. Internally, if we're a wife, if we're a mother, we're holding all these things. We're working at a job. We're doing all this. And a lot of times we don't give our bodies, our minds, and our spirits the rest that it needs. So we're constantly moving, and in the midst of the constantly moving, we're breaking down, not realizing. And it takes something like this to make you check back in. We're thinking, oh, I'm doing the work of the Lord. That too. I'm ministering. I'm doing all of this, but you're not resting. You're not checking in, and your body is saying, check in. Check in. Because if you don't take care of me, I'm going to shut down until you check in. Physically, check in with the doctor. Spiritually, check in with the Father. I need you to get it together. It was so bad, Dr. Hall, to the point that I couldn't sleep at night. I'm sleeping with heating pads. I'm sleeping in my shower because the pain is so bad. But then I'm getting up and I'm going to work. So where's the rest?
LaKeisha, I wanna ask you.
Sure.
You know, I heard you say that you needed to trust God, but I'm going to ask you probably what would be a really difficult question. Were you ever angry with God about when for a lot of women, it's like, that's the essence of who I am. Were you ever angry with him?
I wasn't angry. I was sad. I was sad because I kept saying to myself, God, was I supposed to have kids beforehand? So it was never angry. It was sad. It was, did I mess up because I didn't have children earlier? And because I was waiting on marriage, did I miss out? Did I not do what I was supposed to do? And when I tell you, in that moment in time of just, sitting back and being quiet and really hearing God, I have to be honest, I didn't miss out. And here's why I didn't miss out. Because I have grandbabies, and I have, what I mean by grandbabies, I have God grandbabies. And I have God children who have gave me a children. So although I didn't naturally birth them, I still have them.
Yes.
And so when he shifted, you keep thinking that to be a mother, you got to naturally birth children. No, you don't. And that's what he had to get in my mind. Because my mind was, oh, God, I was waiting. It didn't happen. And my grandbabies let me know, you got us. We here. What? You got us. It's 8 of them. And I looked back and I said, you know what? I do. I got babies. I got children.
And the thing is, LaKeisha, I heard the Lord say, I honor the way that she honored me. So if there's ever a moment, and I feel God, if there's ever a moment where you do question, because the enemy, people need to understand that whenever you're working through something, or you've been healed through something, the enemy is going to try it again. And the Lord honors the way that you honored him. So don't for another day. Do you say, should I have done this ahead of time? He honors that you honored him. And even when we think about that and we're talking about God blocked it, because I know of the prophetic mantle on your life, I trust that he's going to download the things that were blocked because of the fact that you honored him.
My Lord.
He'll download it. You probably already know. You probably already know some of the things.
Some of it, yes.
You do. You already know. Like some of you already know. I know it's stuff that I'm not even gonna say. Even the types of relationships, the abuse that you would the abuse that you would have suffered, the abuse that you already know.
Yeah.
What got blocked.
Yes.
And you honored him.
Yes.
And so, Lord, we thank you. We thank you for that. We thank you for that. That's right. Elder Keisha said God honors the way we honor him. He honors that, and he rewards that. And he rewards that. And I love that you have been able to find rest, and by find rest, to trust that, you know, he gave you all these spiritual babies. And honestly, like, we don't know. We, like, life is not over yet, so we really just don't know what he's gonna do, you know.
Right.
We don't know what we really don't know what he's going to do. I want to ask you though, because you said you were sad, and oftentimes we don't know how to it's easy for us to know what it feels like to be mad. And a lot of times when we're sad about something, we connect it with being angry. And so the reason why I wanted to ask you that is because I know that, you know, there are other women that may share the same testimony, or for some of them, it may feel like the same type of trial, and they have these feelings, but then they beat themselves up because they have these feelings. And so thank you for being transparent, that you were like, look, I wasn't angry with him, but I was sad. Yeah. And how did you speak to yourself so that you didn't begin to hate yourself and to hate your body? I don't know why God wants me to ask that question. How did you speak to yourself? Because sometimes it's what we say. I think about the woman with the issue of blood. And if you go back to that scripture, yeah, and when you go to, and that's what the Lord just dropped it. When we go to the scripture, the scripture actually says, and she said to herself. So she had a conversation with herself before she approached Jesus for her healing. I want to know, what did you say to yourself that began to activate your healing? Because when you're sad, like, there's some healing that has to take place. What conversation did you have with yourself?
Let me tell you something. The conversation I had with myself it was when that adversary was coming at my mind, telling me that I was going to die. And the conversation I would have with myself in the middle of the night, wide awake, is, I know I'm a generation curse breaker, so I ain't going nowhere. I may be tired in my body and I may be sad right now, but I know God has called me to do a work, and I'm going to accomplish this work. I have outlived my mother. And so the devil used to play with me about that she only made it to 46 and you ain't going to make it past 46. So a lot of stuff that I had to deal with was really in my mind. And when you just said the issue of blood, how she touched the hem of his garment, it would be worship. I would put on worship music and I will worship. I will be in my car. I will be singing to myself. And he would remind me, he said, what other people have lost their minds for, you are still here. People don't know the true testimony of what I've been through in these 49 years of my life. He was like, so if I kept you through 4 deaths, homelessness, everything else, you don't think I won't keep you through this? So he had to remind me. He said, go back and replay what I've done for you. You think I'm going to let you sit here and die in this? You're not dying in this. This is just another story to who I am. So you can tell people of how good the God that you serve is. So in those moments when I was saying and I seclude myself from people, and people was like, you could have reached out to me, and I couldn't reach out to you. I said, you could have prayed, but I had to talk to God. I had to talk to him. That was not a time for me to get out of worship. That was not a time for me not to connect and live stream with church. And even when I didn't want to pick up the Bible, see, this is where God begins to talk. He reminds you of how much word you got in you. You don't know how much word you got in you until you start going through stuff. So I would be somewhere and the word would just come up. I'd be like, ooh, and the word would just come up. Jeremiah 29:11. I know who I called you to be. I'd be like, ooh. And sometimes it would scare me because I'm like, oh, I didn't know I stored that much up in me. But it was that time when he said, go back and pull out the word. Begin to speak the word. You're saying it, but sometimes you got to just pull out. You got to remember what I've done before, because sometimes when we don't remember, we get lost. But that's why we got a testimony, because of what he did, because I remember. Well, God, you did it then, so why won't you do it now? Even with my body, he was like, be okay with your body. Be okay with your body. Like even right now, he was like, it's okay. You're still You're still healing. People think, oh, it's a 6 to 8 months. No, it's a year and a half to two until you really feel like your body is yours because your organs shift, things shift. And so now he's saying, and then when you want to go back to working out, work out. But you still you're fine. You're fine who you are. You've always loved who you were. It was never a complex. So I need to lose this. You always been confident. So still continue to be confident in who you are. And I'll take care of this other stuff because you haven't, like she said, you having this pretty face and this pretty body, but you can't get ugly. Meaning that you have this pretty face and this pretty body. You got to get ugly for God. And then to be honest, even with me going on this trip, what I've learned in my trips are that my trips are also assignments. And once I learned that it's no longer just in the four walls of the church, but it's everywhere, I get excited about that. And how he met me several times in Africa of just talking to people and just giving the word. And I said, there you go, that's that bursting the purpose.
I didn't realize I was on mute. I'm steady like talking back to you. I didn't even realize I was on mute. I'm gonna bring the other ladies in here. For those that are you're just tuning in, we're talking to the authors. We're getting to know them that were part of the book God Blocked It. And you guys are gonna realize how God ordained the three of you being on tonight's show was. I did not piece y'all together at all. I didn't piece you together, but I love how God does this every single time. I wanted to tell you, LaKeisha, Miss June Smith wrote, she said, coming from an adopted child, you are awesome, caring, and a love is inside of you for any little person who will come into your life. She said, thank you for who you are. And listen, y'all, I'm excited for you all to get to learn who Miss June is. She has an incredible testimony of her life, and she was adopted and was loved and still honors her adoptive parents. That's why I said I don't know what God is going to do. But what I love about God is that what he has put on the inside of us as women is the ability to birth nations, right? And I heard the Lord speak nations, like you birth not only purpose, but your purpose is to birth nations, LaKeisha. And so there is much for you. There is more. Listen, I'm pulling off what Prophet Alisa always says. I'm usually making fun of her when I say it, but it really is the truth. There is more because God has given us the ability to birth nations. If you were to go into Deuteronomy 28, I believe it's 28 and the 3rd verse, it actually speaks of how basically the Lord is like, listen, I'm going to restore things unto you, but I'm going to give you nations, right? And so we worry about what we expect life is supposed to be about. And God's like, I'm trying to give you nations. Mm-hmm. I want to give you nations. Like that's what he's speaking of. He's saying this. LaWanda says, through this queenship fellowship, God is soaring my confidence, and it shares like this that makes it happen for me. It makes it happen for me. Miss June says, yes, they were a blessing in my life. And she's speaking about her parents. Miss Danae says, I didn't die when I realized I wasn't going to ever be a natural mother, but God makes me a spiritual mother to the multitude of children. And Miss Danae really does she loves on everybody. She loves on all of us, right? And she will get you together. She's going to get you together. I want to ask you ladies, talk to me. Because I saw y'all back there nodding your heads and all of that good stuff. What resonated with you? Because like I said, everybody, you'll find within our conversation on tonight how all of the stories just connect. Like I'm sitting here like, wow, this is just crazy, but it's all God. So y'all talk to me. What was it that connected? I see where Elder Keisha says, roll back the videotape to encourage ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Shell says, that's the word. He'll do it again. Remember the last time.
This sounds so familiar to me, LaKeisha, your story. Just sitting there, just listening. When I wrote my chapter with I'm Stronger Than the Storm, it just reminded me, maybe like 20 years back. I'm not trying to give away my age now, but I was just graduating college and I was just working and working and working. This kept pushing myself. And the thing is that you keep pushing yourself, but if you don't stop and rest, If you don't sit down, God will sit you down. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened to me. He sat me down.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to the point, when I went through, I'm not going to tell you everything that I went through. You have to buy the book to
Look.
understand the story. I am stronger than the storm.
Mm.
When I went through my health scare, I was at the point I couldn't even drive to work for 6 months. Okay.
Wow.
My license wasn't suspended or anything like that, but I could not, go through what I went through under the wheel. So I had to switch careers and everything. But I wrote something down. And as I was writing it down, as I overcame my storm, I changed my life. As I overcame that storm, that's when things started to change in my life. And another thing I like what you said, I am a generational curse breaker. That's an affirmation that I'm going to put on my wall. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Whew.
Prophet Alisa, talk to me. Talk to me.
I'm over here. I've been trying not to cry and hit the floor and roll around and get a sheet. You bless me. Listen, I am a woman who had to have a hysterectomy. And when you lose something by force, not because you had to give it up, not because it was your choice to give it up, but when it's taken from you, it's different.
Yeah.
It's a different feeling. You almost feel like a part of you, the woman that you are, is leaving you.
Yep.
But I had to learn and realize that God wouldn't have taken that part of me away if he didn't have a greater part of me that he needed to come forth.
Ooh.
Right? So when I was sitting back here, rolling around, about to have a fit, as you were talking, the Lord said natural wound versus spiritual wound. So what you had to lose naturally, because the enemy was trying to attack you in the way of your natural, to get you, because when we're naturally attacked, we get depressed, we go into a moment, we have, our emotions take over. So when the enemy came that way at you, it was to get you to stop, period.
Yeah.
But your spiritual womb stood up and said, there's more. As she was saying, there's more. Just because what you took from me naturally does not mean you stop anything that's birthing out of me spiritually. So then I heard you say, I have godchildren who gave me grandchildren. I heard you say, I have God's children. That's what I heard. I have God's children. Hallelujah. That's what I heard out of my spirit. So you are courageous, and you are phenomenal, and you are magnificent, because these are the words that I hear for you. What the enemy thought he was going to destroy you with, God multiplied you. He multiplied. Your womb will birth many great things. Many great things. Many things shall come forth out of you. Children, you're going to have plenty of children that you didn't have to birth, because they need you. They need the nurturer that you are, that your natural children, check this out, would have been jealous of, because they wouldn't have wanted to share you with the world. But you're birthing children that don't mind sharing you with each other. That's the difference. That's the difference. I honor you. I honor you today. This blessed me. I was back here trying not to have a whole moment and I didn't want my mascara to go and trying to stay cute. But listen, God is amazing. You helped me understand why I had to lose my womb.
Ooh.
And I have 4 children, but it still took something from me. I felt like I lost something of myself, but I didn't lose anything that God didn't want to be there. I birthed the children that I needed to birth naturally. Now I have to birth spiritually. I thank you. I thank you for your testimony. Yeah. That blessed me.
It's amazing. I also I had a hysterectomy. I think it was 37 or 38. And my womb was causing so much pain that I was bent over. and it could barely walk. And first it was, I had a tumor on my right ovary. We found out it was like the size of a grapefruit, and I had been going to the doctors and saying to them, something is wrong here, like something's wrong. And they tried to make me feel like I was crazy. And it wasn't until one day that I tried to stand up and I couldn't stand up. And so it's amazing how the Lord, he will remove the thing, he blocks it. so that it cannot cause pain, like, right? So there's always purpose. And so it is amazing how when we come together and we discover the things that we do have that is, that's just so similar, than the things that we had to endure.
He's amazing.
Yeah. LaKeisha, did you want to say anything before we?
I did. And you know what? It's funny because as you guys are talking, it now makes sense. I remember years ago, one of my first ladies, she prophesied to me, you will be a mother of many children. And at that time, I thought it was physical children. Physical. So I'm sitting here, and as you guys are talking, God is reminding me the words that were spoken. And so I'm sitting here because there's tears of joy.
Amen.
There's tears of joy of that there's more, and that you're right. Sometimes, because the godchildren I have now, they are spoiled rotten. They're like, they don't want to share me with anyone. So hearing this, you ladies and just the ladies watching and everyone watching, this has just encouraged my spirit so much more to let me know there's more to come. And even when she said that over the storm, her life changed about her career, that there just struck me, because I'm like, God, I just said yesterday, I said, this year, you're up to something big. Like, I feel everything changing. Everything just changing. That's why it was a fight for me to get on this live, but I was telling Dr. Hall, I am getting on this live. I know I'm at work. I'm cutting down. I don't know how to do it. And God was like, just push. You'll get it. Just push. And I'm just sitting here just saying, I thank you all. You all have been a blessing to me, and this has just restored. It has just built me back up. That is, again, I can't wait to see what God does.
I just want to point out that you just spoke a prophetic declaration that people need to make sure that they implement and they speak it in their vocabulary. You said this year, everything changes. This year, everything changes. For those that, I know we came into January, and I'm going to tell you the one thing that I saw toward the end of the month, everybody was talking about how this was the longest year already, and people were talking about how they couldn't wait to get through. Listen, stop it. We need to stop declaring that we're broke. We're not going to declare those things, because this year, everything changes. That means your mindset needs to change. That means that what you say out of your mouth needs to change. This year, everything changes. This year, everything changes. I need people to understand that. This year, everything changes. That means you got to do something different. Right? We're not going to be speaking the same things. Like, we're not going to, like I said, we're not going to speak that we're broke. We're not going to speak that we're sick. We're not going to speak, that the enemy is running us down. We're not going to speak that we are constantly in warfare. I just want to let y'all know, you are not supposed to be in warfare 24 hours a day. This year, everything changes, and it starts with your mindset, and it starts with what you say out of your mouth, right? Because what you say carries weight.
Yes, Lord.
What you say carries weight. Crystal says abundance mindset, the mind of Christ. This year, everything changes. If y'all want something to shift, begin shifting your relationship with the Lord. Everything changes this year. Right? The things that used to get me down, they're not going to. The things that I focus on, I'm not focusing on those things anymore. This year, everything changes.
Bringing consciousness to my mindset. I'm being conscious of what is coming out of my mouth.
Yes, being intentional. Yeah, we're going to be intentional about what it is that we say. Because this year, everything changes. Hallelujah. That just blessed my life. I want to give a special shout out. We got Apostle Stefan Staunton hanging out with us on tonight. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. So excited that you're here. Y'all, we have Queen Deborah Olusoga from the United Kingdom hanging out with us tonight. I'm so excited that you are here, my dear. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because it's late there. And so thank you for hanging out with us. Y'all, we have Shatima Reedy hanging out with us on this evening as well. And thank you so much for being here. Jakara, thank you, my love. I'm so glad that you are here.
Amen.
We have Desiree hanging out with us on this evening. Desiree, I just appreciate you being here. Tina Green is in the house over on Amazon Live. Thank you, Tina. We love you, Tina. Thank you so much for being here. Fran from San Antonio is here with us. Fran, thank you so much for being with us this year as well.
Amen.
Maria just said, I said it aloud. This year, everything changed. And she said, my 12-year-old just said it too. Listen, y'all, we're not going to be victims anymore.
Nope.
The year being the moments where we were people pleasers and then we just complained about how people treated us badly. That stuff's over. You're going to stand up and be bold on this year.
Right. That's right.
Everything changes.
Everything.
Things God wants. You think God blocks certain things for you to run around and still be mousy about everything?
Right.
God's blocking things
Not
out of our
mousy.
life, and we want to You think God blocked something for you to scream?
That's right.
This year, everything changes. I'm not being a mouse. No, you don't get to speak to me any kind of way.
Everything changed. It's funny because even this morning, I normally don't wear makeup. I'm just in my mask. But this morning, I put my little eyeshadow on. And in the mirror, I heard God saying, you're not preparing for where you are. You're preparing for where you're going.
Yes.
He said, go back to what you used to do. So yesterday was my first day back to work in like 28 days. I bought in roses. I bought in my eucalyptus. And my coworkers was looking. I said, listen here, I can't explain to y'all. And I didn't even say that. I was just like, how you doing? But God was saying, it's where you're going, not where you now. Start doing. Dress for where you want to go. Dress for where you want to go. How you want your office to look. How you want everything to look around. I was like,
come on.
Okay, God, you ain't got to tell me no more. Because before, I don't know, maybe no. No. You going somewhere. It changes. It just even hearing you saying this, everything changes this year. Everything.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something. The Lord is blessed that in January, like I just came back from Canada. Shout out to Pastor Jackie Nugent for bringing me in there to preach. But normally when I go in the airport, I mean, I'm always presentable, but I'll wear like, my little jogging suit and it'll be cute, but no, I said, oh no, we're gonna be stepping out because I'm gonna step out. Like, what if paparazzi was here? I mean, I knew they weren't going to be, but this year everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
No, we're not going anywhere looking broke, busted, and disgusted. We're not doing that. This year everything changes. Crystal just said, she said, putting on eyeshadow now. Whoop. Yes. Miss Ann says, hey ladies, my life is in overflow and thank God for he blocked an event that I was supposed to be on virtually and I am here. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes,
Crystal said, yes, office got the updo. Come on here. I love it. I love it. Listen, Laqueshia, I wanna spend some time with you. So I'm gonna put you ladies in the green room for just a little bit because y'all, we can just sit here and chat all night long about the goodness of the Lord, and that is why we are here. But Laqueshia, I wanted to talk to you and your chapter, which I really enjoyed it. Your chapter is, hold on one second. Let me scroll your information. Let's scroll it. Your chapter is Cancer. You are not welcome here, period. Now, how did you say the period?
That's right. Because I had to write it down. Because if you want something to happen, you have to write it down, right? Yeah. You're not welcome here. It's already been blocked like 2 times, 3 times actually, because I forgot to write that story in the book after I wrote the chapter. But just to start off explaining what happened when I was young, we were all told, as growing up, go get your routine checkups. And I did that, right? And, one test came back abnormal. Okay. The doctor called and said, okay, we need to see you as soon as possible. Okay. Abnormal. Precancerous cells. First time, 20-something years old. This is before I had children.
oh my goodness, I'm scared, right? I'm just so scared. It's like, okay, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do. But thank God, okay, that technology is that the way it is then and definitely today, right? Went, had the biopsy, had everything done. And once everything's, been taken care of, I'm just so blessed by that. But just to back up, because I don't want to get too much ahead of myself, right? So let me just make sure that I'm telling everything in order, right? So went to the doctor, everything came back. I was called to something came back abnormal, got the biopsy. When I got the biopsy done, I had to have surgery. That's the part I forgot to add in. Had to have surgery. Once I had the surgery, everything was back to normal. And I was just truly blessed about that. Was I scared? Oh my goodness, yes. Because I thought God was going to take me away from here, at an early age. I didn't want to go nowhere. I know I had a lot of living to do, but that yearly screening just saved my life. It did. So that was the first scare, dealing with cancer, right? The second scare happened about almost 5 years ago. I was more calm this time for some reason. God brought a sense of calmness in my life.
A peace.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You have this lump in your breast. Okay. All right. We're just going to keep an eye on you. All right. We're going to get a biopsy. Okay. And when the results came back online, I could have been scared. But again, it was a sense of calmness that came down on me the second time, because it was like a stage 0. I was like, stage 0, not coming here. Okay. So they just went back. They reviewed everything again, and everything was benign. I have a clip in my chest showing that it's benign, and I just go on about my business. So ever since then, I go, every year, get my screenings like I'm supposed to, stay on top of it. Family history, if I have not known my family history, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. If I didn't have genetic testing, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. And the thing about that is, okay, I had these scares, right? I had these scares. Cancer runs on both sides of my family, prevalent on both sides of my family. After I had the genetic testing and the genetic counselor talked to me, she was like, your chances of getting cancer is low. God blocked it.
Wow. So after all the scares, you've had surgery, and she says the chances are low. So it's as if the Lord reversed what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the kind of God that we serve.
And that's all I can say.
I've never heard of that happening. Where it's like, listen, you show all the signs.
Yeah.
You've had it, right? And then it's like God, like he it's almost like the Lord went in and changed your genetic makeup. For her to turn around and say it's low.
Supernaturally. Yes, absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely. And my aunt, God bless her soul, she's not here anymore. On my dad's side, she called me La. Okay, this is because my biological dad was a twin. Okay, your dad had this, your aunt had this. You need to get checked for this. You need to get checked for that. Oh, those doctors, you talked about how the doctor tried to push you off. I kept talking to those doctors. Okay, I need me a mammogram right now. And I had my first mammogram at 32 years old. I was supposed to get it at 40, but I got it at 32. And then, about 5 years ago when I had that second scare, listen, this is going on this side. I need you to keep a check on me. So I went to the high risk clinic for a while, and they kept an eye on me for a while. And last year, they was like, okay, hey, you don't need to come here no more. And that was that. But I'm just more in tune, more conscious. If something don't feel right, I'm staying on top of everything. And of course, Almighty.
So I want to ask you, how did you push past the fear? Because a lot of times people, we don't want to go to the doctor. We don't want to hear the bad news, right? But you were pushing them because you were like, listen, I need you to make sure. And it sounds like, for example, one of them where they were like, okay, it's at a 0. It's like you caught it early enough that they were able to, if there was anything that was going to happen, they were able to wipe it out. because you went early enough. So, how did you get past the fear?
The second time around, to be honest with you, God just kept me together. I kept saying, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. It was there. It was present, but it was still a sense of calmness. It really was, because he brought me through it before. And guess what? He brought me through it again. And that's just what happened. And I made sure, okay, I'm going to be okay. Just like you got finished saying, it's what you speak out your mouth. And that's so true. This is not happening. Cancer, you are not welcome here, period. I got too much things to do. I have too much living to do. I have too many people to bless. I have too many people lives to impact. You are not welcome here.
You are not welcome here. I want to read a snippet from your chapter. You said, God has healed me and blocked so many attacks meant for my harm. When I faced these challenging times, I had no choice but to let God take over, do his work, and heal me. During my challenging times, I did not have the energy to worry or be afraid. All I said to God is that everything is in your hands. Once I gave up the fear, God was able to provide me with a peace of mind that allowed me to stay focused on him and heal. My primary lesson is that when times get tough, I must seek God first and wait for his timing. Talk to us about timing, God's timing. How do you wait? Because his timing is never our timing. And a lot of times it feels like he never comes when we want him. Like we know the saying, we know the song, but it's like, ugh.
That's where that gratitude piece come in, thanking him what he's already done for me, thanking him, for where I'm already at. Yeah, of course, it's going to come, in my mind. And sometimes I was like, oh, goodness. Yeah, that anxiety will push in. But I just have to get in my little bubble, because I like a quiet space. I like a peaceful and quiet environment. And one of the things that I did, I just have to sit in my space and then just breathe in and breathe out. I just did, simple stuff and just letting it go, just giving it to him. Because while I'm going to be God, it's too much stress for me trying to be God. It's too much stress for me to try to take on his job. Mm-hmm. He knows this. It's too much stress to do that. Why I'm stressing myself out and putting gray hair on my edges to try to be God? No, I'm going to let him be him, and he's going to take care of it. It's always going to work out in your favor, even better than it's supposed to.
Okay, so how you wrote the gratitude journal. Mm-hmm. Gratitude is not something that just happened upon you. Not for you to kind of be walking in this thing where you are teaching mm-hmm. people how to recognize mm-hmm. and be intentional about being grateful. How can somebody be grateful when they're in pain, when they're facing what the world says is a fatal disease? How did you lock into your gratitude?
It didn't happen overnight. I will say that it did not happen overnight. I just kept my mind, like when I'm out here, on social media and stuff, because I followed a gratitude challenge before. It's quite, different than the one that I did. And I kept reading and researching about it. I was like, oh my goodness, this makes sense. But being grateful didn't happen, overnight. I was the one that complained a lot in the past. But complain is not going to get me anywhere. If you complain, it's not going to make the situation better. But like if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, right? You're going to get the same result. You're going to get the same result. Okay. I need to do something different. I push my gratitude muscle little by little, day by day. And I got stronger and stronger and stronger to the point, was able to teach it. But in regards to, when I was going through that time, it's an unexplainable feeling. God just had me. He just had me. He just told me you're going to be okay. And with me just being thankful and thankful and thankful, it just shifted my situation.
I'm loving the fact that first of all, thank you for being transparent and, just being honest about the fact that, okay, it wasn't easy at first, but that you intentionally set out to be just a little bit more grateful, a little bit more thankful every single day. And then that just became part of your normal makeup. I love that that's what you did. Now I'm gonna tell you one of the things that you just said a few minutes ago. You said it's too stressful trying to do God's job. Like that right there so resonated with me. It's too stressful trying to do God's job. And I cannot tell you how many times I've been awake in the middle of the night and completely stressed out and not able to rest because I guess I'm trying to do God's job. Right? Like I guess I've been trying to do God's job. And so it's way too stressful.
Let him be him.
Really is.
He knows how to orchestrate. He knows how to plan it so well. He knows how to make those pieces fit. He knows how to make it fit. Because we keep trying to put our hand in it. It's not going to work out well.
Yes, LaKeisha, talk to me. What I saw you over there writing. So yeah, I know. I see you. He's like, listen, the Lord's downloading and all that good stuff. So talk to me.
Okay, so I had several things. I'm sitting over here.
Go ahead, give them to us.
Whew, okay, so about when she said the second time it came around in the peace, and how God would give you peace in the middle of trials to let you know that I got you. You stressing out is only going to make it worse. But if you trust me, I got you. But then it was when you said how when you realized when you start doing the family history, how you stayed on top of it. And it was something that what I actually wrote down was something about the press. That when you press to keep going, God, when you press to keep going, God is right there. He'll give you the answers. As you keep, sometimes we get the bad news and it's just, okay, I'm done. But it's something about that pressing is when, again, how the woman with the issue of blood, she kept pressing towards Jesus just to touch the hem of his garment. So in your pressing of trying to understand is where your healing comes from. Sometimes we stop when we just get the news, but God is like, I need you to test me. Press towards me. When you press, I am there in the midst of the press. That's how, okay, God, that's how, because now he over here downloading. How do you have to press olives to get the oil? Oh, God. Really, Jesus? You got to press for the oil to come out, because if you don't go through anything, how can we give a testimony to other people about the press and the pain, the press and the trials? And then, okay, the process, the diligence, but then the one thing you said about gratitude, and it just reminded me, and I know I'm paraphrasing in the scripture about how I think he healed the 9, but only one came back to say thank you.
That part.
Woo!
That part.
Woo! When she asked when she asked you, how do you stay grateful in the midst of trials? You stay grateful because we're still here.
Yep.
We're still here. So here I go, water it again. Every time we wake up is another chance. We're not 6 feet under.
That's
So
it.
no matter how bad it is, how hard it is, every time you are opening your eyes, because it's something he has for you to do.
That's it.
And when I look at sometimes even, it reminds me one time I was talking to somebody who was homeless, and I said to him, I said, you are not worthless. I said, you are still here because God has a purpose for you. You may have not tapped into it. I said, you know how many people have left this earth? But we're still here. So every time we open these eyes, body tired, body sore, God, you're not done, because you could have took us out.
That's right.
But you didn't. We're here. We're here. You woke us up. So that means you up. You got something to do. You got to write it down. That part. Yeah, I'm over here scribing. Let me just be on quiet, because I just got a whole. Whew.
I love it. Prophet Alisa, talk to us.
Listen.
She's over here ready to preach already again.
Yeah. She better go ahead and preach. Listen. I was sitting here stuck for a minute, because when you talked about, you had all the signs, right? This is what I heard. You had the signs of affliction to be defeated, but you rose out of it. As Christ went to walk to the journey of Calvary, he had all the look of affliction. He had all the look of defeat. But when he got on that cross, he had a purpose not to die, but to rise. You had a purpose not to die, but to rise. You look like it to the doctors. Like they didn't even understand. Like you got everything's pointing towards this. Everything the day of when Christ went to Calvary pointed towards him not coming off that cross and doing anything other but dying on that cross. He rose. You had purpose. You had purpose to rise, and you're still rising.
Yes.
Because in this gratitude book that you have written, and I don't even think that's just one. I think there's volumes of gratitude books that you need to birth out in different formats, in different ways. But it's just one introduction of this is the first layer of what gratitude looks like. When I laid in a bed of affliction, all I could do was thank God for getting up. Going to the bathroom, I was thankful because I used to have to sometimes crawl to the bathroom. So you learn gratitude in that place of, Lord, if I can just go use the bathroom, I just want to go potty. Can I go potty? I just want to go to the potty. You appreciate getting up, going to the bathroom. That thing becomes an appreciation like never before. So gratitude comes in those little places that we take for granted. Yes. I took going to the bathroom for granted because when you're laying in the bed and you got to really go and you in pain, so you trying to hold on so you can go one time instead of trying to get up and going 3 times when you know that one time is enough. Gratitude. When I go to the potty now, it's a whole different revelation. It's a whole different gratitude. You appreciate life differently when you think you're going to lose your life.
Lord.
When it looks like you're going to lose everything. And he says, no, I'm blocking that.
Yes.
You're going to rise out of that. Yes.
I love it. I love
Y'all
it.
blessing me tonight. Y'all just blessing me tonight. I promise you.
I'm ready to just give a whole collection, please. Just everybody. Just everybody. Just everybody.
Yes.
You get it. You get it.
I co-sign that. More books, please.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Prophet Alisa, your chapter is attempted murder.
Amen.
So, ladies, I'm going to put you in the green room for a few minutes while I talk to Prophet Alisa, who's already been blessing the timeline on tonight. And so, your chapter was attempted murder. I want to start by reading a snippet from your chapter. So you said, I was told who I wasn't countless times. And when that didn't work, I was called evil and a witch. I have been talked about and accused of not being a prophet. It was because of what people said that caused me to run and hide from my purpose, which was the plan of the enemy. The enemy wanted to destroy me, and I was dying daily on the inside. I began to believe that I was nothing and a nobody, but God never let me give up. God never let me give up. Talk to us about what it's like to be told who you aren't.
Ooh. I don't know if anybody ever had was it acupuncture? As I'm saying it right, acupuncture, the little needles.
Acupuncture?
Acupuncture. I know how to. I mess up a word. Them little things that they stick all over your body.
Them little things, yeah. The needles.
Them little needles. And some people I've heard that they say, "Oh no, you don't feel it. I don't care. You lying to me. I know you got to feel them little things going in your body." But that's if you could visualize having that many needles all over your body at one time, and every day someone coming and adding another needle and another needle and another needle. till you walk around and you look like a porcupine. Now you can't see it physically, but that's what it felt like spiritually. So it was, and then and it's in my mind, it looked like everyone could see what everyone said or felt about me through these little needles hitting my body every day. And you're telling me you're not this. And every time another needle went in, I believed it. I owned it. It was, well, maybe you're right. My life, my past said, well, maybe I could not be this, or maybe I can't amount to that, because what my past life was, what I did and some of it was still present, because it takes time to get delivered from certain things. But I believed it because it was easy to believe it. Part of me didn't want to believe that I could be used. Part of me didn't want to believe that I could have a purpose. But then I had another side of me that fought and said, but you don't have to believe that. So that battle between flesh and blood, spirit and natural, constantly, every day. So I lived this every day. So that was that attempted murder on the mind every day of, I want to believe it, but maybe you're right, is because I'm making all these mistakes, or I'm not lining up to what they say. Because, there's a lineup to what a prophet's supposed to look like, or how they're supposed to be presented, or, for the world, that this is what I'm supposed to be. But when I looked in the word, I lined up with some of the prophets in the word that didn't look like what they said. So it confused me after a while. And I was like, well, Lord, who do you say I am? I had to now go back to God. Who do you say I am? Because you said I was a prophet. You said that you called me. So what do you say? Let me block out all of this. And when I began to believe God, so when they said it, I got kind of cocky, like, well, God said, this is who I am, which got me in trouble a lot of times, because now now you're coming off like you're greater than this. But it was a fight. Either I was going to be low or high. So it was like there was no middle ground. So either I was a little cocky, or I was, I stayed in a dumbfounded place. But I had to learn a balance of humility. Eventually I learned humility, and I learned how to go, well, Lord, I don't want to not be the prophet that I can't enter into the room and be received, because that happens too. Even though I don't care how anointed and powerful you are, if you're too arrogant, you're too boastful, and you're too prideful, the door will open for you in the room, but will you remain in the room? So I wanted to be a prophet that remained in the room. So to do that, I had to start learning how to humble myself and how to submit myself to God. And that was hard, because sometimes I felt God wasn't fair. Like, well, why do I have to be the one that take the low road? Why do I have to be the one that apologizes? Why do I have to be the one that's wrong in my right? Because that's what, most of the time, what a prophet has to be. You have to be wrong in your right. You have to learn how to take the wrong, even though you're right. So I had to fight through that place.
So the title of your chapter is Attempted Murder. And we understand that the enemy, he comes at us physically and everything. Mm-hmm. But how did he attempt to kill you?
Ooh, let's see. Well, I want them to read it, but I can pull maybe from a place of when I got attacked in my body, because after he had came at me so many different ways, and when the enemy realizes he can't stop you in one way, he'll come another. So what he did was he came at me physically, and that stopped me from getting out the bed, being able to maneuver. And it was like, Lord, I'm going to die. That's all I kept telling God. I told him, like, I got a decision in this thing. I'm dying. I just wish you just come on and get me.
Mm.
And he said, you're not going to die. This is not unto death. This affliction on your body is not unto death. When he said I allowed it, then I got a little, like you said, do you get mad at God? Yeah, I got a little angry because I'm like, so you want me to be in this much pain day and night? I woke up in pain. I went to sleep in pain. Pain medicines didn't help. It just made me comfortable. I was cranky. I was moody. I was angry. I was frustrated with God. I couldn't believe that he allowed my body to have this much affliction on it. And that wasn't just the only time my body went through affliction, but that was the greater time. It was like years I went through, maybe 3 or 4 years. I walked around day and night in pain, legs hurting, body hurting, chest hurting, back hurting, eyes hurting, losing weight, looking like people didn't even want to come near me after a while. I started getting dark. My skin color changed. And I'm like, Lord, mind you, this was the cute part for me. I still had to get up and go minister to people. So Lord, you want me to get out my bed in a state of death and go talk to somebody about life? I know you lying, God. I know you ain't want me. And I would fuss all the way to the assignment. Hallelujah. I would fuss all the way to the assignment. Physically dying in my body because I had no life. I would literally walk hunched over to get to wherever he asked me to go. And I still had to speak life to somebody. And I'm like, well, they don't see that I'm dying. They don't see me. No, because he hit me. He hit me in the stage of death that people didn't see, because people actually accused me of lying. It says nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. I went to countless of doctors. I think I've seen every doctor out there. Arthritis doctor. I went to bone doctors, everything. They thought I was crazy. I said, Lord, why can't nobody see my physical death? When I look in the mirror, I could see death, but no one else could see it. So it was like, there's nothing wrong with you. We can't find anything wrong with you. But my body says.
So it's really interesting because you went through physically, but we kind of started off by talking about how there was an assassination attempt against you spiritually, right? And so it's almost like you went through it spiritually, you went through it with your character, you went through it physically. For the person that is dealing with this, where they are going through, and nobody sees it, and people do not believe them. How do they get to the secret place? I love how Psalm 91 says, I will dwell in the secret place. Because when there's an assassination attempt against you, mind, body, spirit. I see Alisa says, she's over on Amazon. She says, oh my God. She said, I went through this mentally. She said, dying in spirit, but having to speak life to those around me. The only way you can do that is if you dwell in the secret place. How do you find the secret place when you are essentially running for your life?
I had to isolate every voice from around me because I had voices. And everyone was telling me what they thought and well, maybe you erred, maybe God is punishing you. I had to isolate the sound, the noise. I'll say the noises, because that's what it was. It was noise. And I had to remember that there was a wing that I could abide under. I had to go into the place of, even though it doesn't look like you got me, I had to go under that hiding place. For me, it was prostrated. I would have to get on the floor and lay out before God. and I would wrap myself in my prayer shawl, and I would just stay there for hours, because sometimes that was my only peace. And when every dart, whew, when every dart of what people said about me, when I went into that place, I felt his wing cover me. But the symbolization of the shawl was my wing. So I was protected as long as I stayed in that presence of God. I had to go into a place of being in his presence. That was my hiding place. That was my place of venting, where I could cry, where I could fuss, I could yell, I could scream, and not feel the darts of the enemy, where the enemy could not find me. He couldn't find me in that place. So when I came out strong. I came out ready to fight against the sound, because I learned that the 91st song was my best friend. It became that you got a good teddy bear, and you carry around that good doll, and I had to shield that word till I believed it, till even when I wasn't under my shawl, I was under my shawl. I was under the wing, that the wing went with me everywhere that I went. When I walked out, when I went to the store, when I went to church, when I went to the doctors, I had to start bringing my wing with me and say, okay, Lord, they don't believe me. They're not listening to me. So I need you to be this. I need you to take your wing and spread it out. I need you to do this for me. I need you to go like this and shield me from what they're saying to me, so that I don't walk out of here wounded, because you told me it was not unto death. You told me I wasn't going to die, but they keep telling me I'm going to die, that I'm not going to live, because, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you just going to mentally take yourself out of here. You're going to go into a state of depression, that you're just going to take yourself out of here. I had to learn to my shield. And as long as I stayed under the wing of that place, of that protection, my hiding place, I actually gained a new relationship with God that I didn't even know that I was going to gain, because you don't think about gaining a relationship with God in that way when you're in pain. You're in a state of despair. But he showed me, even though it didn't look like I trusted him, he showed me that I was trusting him, because I said, okay, well, Lord, I need you to keep protecting me from the sound. I need you to keep shielding me from the sound.
From the sound.
From the sound.
I love it. I see LaKeisha back there. I feel like LaKeisha's about to be, she's our waterworks for today. Poor little baby. We get one every broadcast. Every broadcast, there's one. It's you today, boo. Like it's you today. Alisa said yes. I had to go into solitude. Shell says that part. Elder Keisha says he is our place of protection and our hiding place. Miss Ann says, amen, Psalm 91 every morning. Ashley says, dwell in the secret place. I love when you said you had to isolate the noise, right? Because we are confronted by a lot of sound every day, and a lot of different voices every day. And the voices that we don't need to listen to just become noise, right? So I'm going to ask all you ladies, because we can't get past the fact that, and I'm sorry, I got so caught up in us talking. I'm gonna just scroll you at the bottom, Prophet Alisa. I got so caught up in us talking, I didn't have you at the bottom. But I want to go through. So we started with LaKeisha, who talked about birthing with purpose, right? So the thing that she thought was going to take her out, the thing that she thought made her who she was, is actually going to be what's going to cause her to literally birth nations. We have Laqueshia, who turned around and said, Cancer, you are not welcome here. And in the middle of that, she learned gratitude. And then here you are, there's an assassination attempt against your life on every level. physical, emotional, mental. It's no coincidence that the three of you are here on tonight, right? There's no coincidence. So I'm gonna kind of like, we're gonna kind of begin to shut things down. But I want to ask all of you, how do you begin to isolate the sound? How do you separate God's voice from the noise? Because when you're scared, when you're angry, when you're frustrated, when you're sad, it's really hard to isolate anything because you're dealing with doubt and fear and all that. So how do we isolate? How do we begin to isolate the noise and just focus on God's voice?
I think as time go on, because it didn't start in the beginning, because I will let all the perceptions of others come, to me and get to me, because I mean, all of us went through that in life, but it gets to the point when all of that noise comes in. It's like a message. I feel like a sense of overwhelming, right? And I was like, okay, I have to seek my peace. I have to seek a quiet place to go. And see, when I seek that quiet place and I'm there, and that's when the word just start to download. Now I intentionally seek peace. I intentionally seek it. And I'm just looking at you, Prophet Alisa. I'm like LaKeisha. I was writing down. I have no shame in my game. You protect your energy pretty much, right? This is my interpretation of it. You, with the help of God, intentionally block the perceptions of others. Consult with Him. Do what you had to do to bring you to where you are today. So, yeah.
Prophet Alisa, it was so much in that. You can see my little notes, right? The one thing that kept sticking out to me when you were saying about your physical death and how to block the noise was, and this is the illustration that God gave me, was how when He was walking to the cross to be hung up on the cross and He had to carry His cross, beaten, bowed down, head down, on His way to a death, but He knew that death had purpose. And when you were saying, Lord, how do I go to minister when I was dying, what screamed out to me was, Lazarus, come forth. Yes, you got on dead clothing, but you are still alive, and I need them to see the witness of who I am. You look like you're dying. You should be dead, but you're walking, so that means if you're moving, you're alive.
Yes, sir.
Even though you're wrapped up in dead clothing, you're still moving. It's the movement. And the fact that you protected your mind enough, even though you thought you were going crazy, you had the mind of Christ to complete the assignment. That's why I'm over here like, Dr. Hall, like that LaKeisha in this pen. I'm over here like, and you said something earlier when you was like, my past kept me. You know what He had me wrote down? Sometimes the dirtiest past is the best that He would use to get the highest glory. So the dirtiest, to show the world, you thought they was nothing. You thought they was scum, but because they didn't came in contact with me, watch what I'm about to do.
Amen.
You talk bad, you threw dark. That's why you were dying, and that's why people was coming against you, because your assignment was so powerful that if He could have got you in the mind, the body, the spirit, you would have been done. But God said, no. So just the isolation of the mind and the sound, how we get to it is when we steal away in those quiet times. When we steal away and we lay down and turn the phone off, and sometimes got to be away for weekends at a time. And it's not because we don't want to be around people. It's because we need God to speak to them, because it's a matter of life and death.
Yes, sir.
So I can't listen to nobody else. I can't listen to no preacher. I need God Himself to come and say to me, you ain't crazy. Because if I don't hear Him, I'm going to go crazy. So I need His voice. And by any means, again, that press. So if I got to lay on this floor for a couple of hours, I'm going to be on this floor. If I got to be here the whole weekend, I'm going to be here. If I got to steal away and drive 2 hours just to be driving so I can hear Him, as long as I hear Him, this is why we have to be careful of what we listen to.
Yeah.
Because we even, oh God, we don't think about it, but think about it. Lord, I don't like. See, when you talked about that prideful part, that part just I was like, oh, here she go. But the reason why the enemy come at us because he was the chief officer of sound. He
Mm-hmm.
was the angel that got kicked out. He was above worship. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
he comes with the sound.
Mm-hmm.
So we listen to everything before we know we all track and we like, well, how did I get over here when I was just over here praising Jesus? What
Mm-hmm.
sound did you listen to?
Uh-oh.
Who did
Jesus.
you listen to?
What
Who
sound
did
did
you
you?
let to your ear gate? What sound?
Mm,
Was it the sound of your own? Was it your
mm,
ego? Was it your family? Was it somebody that had no business speaking to when I told you to leave them alone? Who you listen to?
Uh-oh.
All right. I'm gonna say y'all did I said Jesus. Yes.
And so
Yeah.
it's when you were talking and you were talking about the fact that a lot of us think that our past is so dirty. I heard fertilizer, right? It's like
mhm,
God is not he's not looking for people that are completely perfect. Now, for those who you never did anything wrong in your life, the Lord is definitely going to use you and bless you real good too. But for those
mhm,
of us that we haven't done everything the right way, right?
mhm,
You know what I mean? And we knew that the only way we got out of some things is because we had to turn it over to the Lord and we had to get on our face and we had to toil and labor to gain relationship with the Lord. He uses our past as
mhm.
fertilizer, right? And if you think
Come
about what
through.
fertilizer is, it's literally the waste. So the thing
Mhm,
that you think in your past that you have to keep, no, it's just fertilizer. Fertilizer literally it breaks down and it nourishes the crop.
mhm. Yes.
So that thing,
Yes,
it,
it
it, it
does.
becomes part of your testimony, but it's not supposed to hold you back from
Mm-mm,
moving forward. So
mm-mm,
to the young woman, to the young man that is here, and you're hearing these testimonies and you're feeling like, okay, well, the Lord brought them out simply because they were women of this great faith and they did everything the right way and what have you. The Lord wants to use you, even in the midst of what is supposed to be your fertilizer. That's
right.
what he wants to do. And I'm just
Yes, sir.
hoping that y'all are catching that. Did anybody want to say anything else regarding that? Sarah said, yes, thank God he's not looking for people that are perfect. I know that's right, Sarah. I
Absolutely.
know that's right. My God, because
Well,
honey, I wouldn't be here. Not at
with
all.
in reference to this into this to the now the sound and the noise, what I had to learn to do is something that he always said to me, and he had to keep reminding me. If it didn't line up with what I
Mm.
spoke to you,
Uh-oh.
Mm.
because God will prophesy to you. You don't have to have a prophet come because he is the prophet. He's prophecy comes from him. So when he speaks to your that still voice in your spirit, and he says, I called you to this, or I assigned you for this, or I gave you this purpose, I gave you this vision. And even though you're in that state of affliction or that state of death, or that state of where they said you won't come out of this. This is your end. And he whispers again and says, but does this line up with what I said to you? And if it
Hmm.
doesn't line up, then you don't, but you believe the word of the Lord. You believe the word of the Lord, because the word of the Lord is never going to fail you. It's never going to leave you hanging. And I think that's what happens. We look so much at our situation. We get caught up in the natural side of what we deal with, and we forget the prophecy that he gave. Because he prophesied. When someone comes and prophesies to you, they're either confirming, affirming, or bringing more revelation to what God already spoke to you. But the word of the Lord was spoken to you already in your spirit. Most of the time we forget the word and we get caught up with life until God has to send a prophet to go, well, what did God say to you? Or what did God speak to you? And kind of revive that word. So every time I got to that place where I wanted to I told God to come take me. I said, you just may as well come and take me now. And he said, I'm not taking you nowhere. I have work for you to do. I called you to a nation of people, and you're going to suffer through this. The affliction that you're coming out of is going to produce more oil.
My
And
Lord.
I had to trust that place and rest in him, because otherwise I probably would have been like, well, listen, I would have been too scared to take my own life. I was a chicken. I wasn't jumping in front of no cars and slitting no wrists and nothing like that. So I just probably would have laid there and just laid there, because I said, Lord, I don't see me coming out of this but he had to remind me of his word. When you eliminate the sound of what people are saying and remember my sound that I said to you, I called you to a greater place. I called you to more.
My God.
So, yeah.
Good
The
stuff.
more, you know, I said there's more.
There's more. There's more.
Hallelujah.
There's more.
This was wonderful. I tell you, God is.
Robin says, she says, I heard someone say that if you're ever wondering whether the voice you're hearing is that of God, if there's sin in it, it isn't him. And that's the truth. If there's any type of sin, if it's even a little bit contrary to God's word, it's not him.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. It's not him. Listen, I want to take a moment. I want you all to share with everyone how they can grab the book from you. Listen, everybody, you have been here. This has been just an incredible night. We've been talking about the book, God Blocked It. Let me tell you, it is just every single evening that we have been on here with Meet the Authors, we've just been going up and up and up and up and up. And so what I want you to do is I want you to support the ladies that are here on the live tonight. And I want you to buy your book from them. I want you to purchase it directly from them. If you buy it off of Amazon, if you buy it from me, there's no way for me to know who to give that credit to. So make sure that you connect with the women directly. Okay. So first I want to ask you, we're going to go to LaKeisha Hall. LaKeisha Hall, let everybody know how can they connect with you on social media and how can they purchase the book from you?
Oh, thank you. They can connect with me through Facebook at LaKeisha, LaKeisham Hall. And if they want to purchase the book, they can go to jotform.com 23010854496053, which is also on my Facebook page. And I look forward to talking with you all.
Absolutely. And so listen, if you do want, because I know the job form, it's a lot of numbers behind it. It's like a social security number back there, basically. But listen, I want you to make sure that you connect with LaKeisha. Hit her up and she'll send you the direct link so that you'll be able to just do a little clickaroo and you'll be able to order your book from her. Laqueshia, Britt, I want to ask you, my dear, how can people connect to you and how can they purchase the book from you?
Through Facebook, simple. My name, LaQuisha Britt, is spelled on the screen. And then you can go to my website, LaQuishaBritt.com, and I will autograph the book and send it to you.
Yes. She will autograph the book.
I have them ready to sign. I'm ready to go.
Listen, I see it's ready. It's ready. But how pretty are they in person? They're beautiful. I promise you, I'm not saying it just because I designed it, but it's such a beautiful book. Like it's just beautiful. This is one of the covers that I definitely want to blow up and hang up on the wall. Like I just it's the angel for me. I'm just loving it. Prophet Alisa, let everybody know how can they connect with you through social media, and also I'm trying to get your stuff on the screen. And how can people purchase the book from you?
Well, you can you have many avenues that I've actually posted here. You can go to alisastilley.com and you can send me an email. I'm still working on some construction on my site, but you can send me an email that you're interested in the book, or you can order through the Jot form. And if the Jot form is a little, too much for you, you can reach me at Alisa R. Stilley on Instagram, and you can send me a message that way, and I will, get back to you within less than 24 hours, and then we can work out how you can get an autographed book from me. Or if you're local, then for anyone who has my personal information, you can just contact me and I will deliver.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. This is so wrong. It's so wrong. But when you were like, you can reach me, I was like, you can reach me by way. Listen, I grabbed my remote control and everything. I was ready.
You felt that
when you were like, you can reach me. I was like, you can reach me with mine. Yes, I was like, yeah.
You can have a little karaoke tonight.
Remote.
I can count on you, Dr. Hall.
It was you. You did it.
Yes.
No, He had the prophet look going.
I had the prophet look
like,
going.
You can reach me. I was like, by railway. I should just came in. Because you took the pause. You can reach me.
By airplane.
I can't.
Oh, is it airplane? Is airplane first?
Yeah, I think
whatever.
So.
You gonna reach me somewhere.
But honey, you was ready.
And here's LaKeisha down there because she just want to prove that I'm wrong. What did I say?
No, you were right, but I was going into the second verse.
Oh, I was going into the second verse. I don't know the second verse. I barely know the first one.
I was going into the second verse. You were singing, and I was like, cross the desert path. Yeah, I was on the second verse.
Yes. But where did the country? Did y'all hear the country twang? You can reach me by airway.
Yeah,
come on here.
Listen, you went to Nashville on us. Sis.
Reach me with your mind. Come on here. You can reach me by caravan. Woo! Y'all, I'm about to release. Why am I talking into this like it's a microphone? Put this down. Y'all, I'm about to release a country single. I'm about to. It's over. It's over. By caravan. I heard it. I didn't hear the desperation in my voice. Thank you. Sarah sealed it. She said it was good. It's good. There it is. Y'all, listen, I trust my sister Maria. She gonna always have my back. She said flow. She said flow. I'm a flow though. I'm a flow. Robin says there's never a dull moment with Dr. Hall. Listen, Mercy, Robin, we're about to be back on the road soon. So I'm excited. It's gonna be Robin she's gonna wear us out. I'm pretty sure, Mercy. Okay, and Maria's singing "Cross the Desert Like an Arab Man." Listen, I love it. Luana said the things we touch and agree on. I love y'all because listen, y'all have my back. Like y'all have my back. I love it. Oh, thank you, LaKeisha says I love the book design. Dr. Howell, you did phenomenal with the design.
Yes, we did.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. She said you ladies are awesome, and I thank you so much for you being here. I see that Tina's over on Amazon. She's singing it too. Y'all know Tina is always gonna sing for us. Like she's always gonna sing. Yeah. I wish you were on here because Tina would have taken that song and she would have
taken it all away.
Tina never disappoints, y'all. She either sings to us during the interview or like what was it last week or the week before? Tina had a whole smorgasbord or charcuterie board of food for us and had everybody hungry and ready for popcorn. Like Alisa was like, now I want some popcorn. Y'all, I can't with y'all. I just love you guys. I love y'all. Well, listen, you guys, somebody said there's never a dull moment. There's never a dull moment. And what an honor it has just been to serve right along with all of you tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on this evening to get to know the authors behind God Blocked It. God Blocked It. If you want to be blessed with some testimonies, you want to get a copy of the book. I'm trying to remember who said this. I think it was for LaKeisha. So Sarah says, she said, okay, LaQuisha, Britt, you can sign that one for me. I'm ordering now.
I got you.
Okay, yes, so make sure that you have that for her. Aniqua, thank you so much, sweetheart, for being here with us. We definitely appreciate you. We have Daniel Wilson that says, awesome, I really enjoyed this. We really enjoyed you being here with us also. Sarah says she just ordered her copy. I love hearing that. So y'all please support the ladies. Get the book and listen, it's a devotional anthology. And what you'll find inside of the book, and I promise I'm going to be done, is that the ladies, they wrote their chapter, but there was also, hi Heidi, we see Heidi right here. There's also a section where there's devotion and there's space for reflection. So this is not just a book of words. This is a book where you're going to hear the testimony, you're going to get the word and then apply it to your own life, okay? Because I promise you, if you do the work, God is going to show up. And you're going to find that as you work through the book, you're going to see where God has blocked so many things in your life. You're going to see where he's blocked so many things, and you're going to see how much he really just wants to bless you. And so this has been so rich on tonight. She said, you know what? She said popcorn, potato chips, peanuts, and she did. And she had it down to a science. We love Tina. Like we love never. Miss Mona says, I'm just coming on. Love you guys. We love you too. If you're just coming on to the live, please catch the replay. It's going to be available within minutes of this. Shell says, beautiful and powerful stories that have been an added strength this week. Absolutely.
Amen.
Mercy
Amen.
says, yes, still God is faithful. And then we have Miss June that's giving us, she's raising the praise. I just love it. Listen, y'all, I love you. I love you. I love you. Remember, you were created to make God famous, and He has anointed you to do hard things. And sometimes the hard thing is isolating the noise so you can hear God's voice, and you can move beyond anger. You can move beyond your fear. You can move beyond your sadness, and you can walk into the freedom that comes from walking in faith. My Holy Spirit, He said that. That wasn't me, y'all. I'm a wordsmith, but when Holy Spirit gets a hold of this mouth, He says some of the best things. All right, I love you guys. You have a blessed night. So we're going to see everybody on YouTube and Facebook. See you, and bye to
good night.
Good night.